Hello, book nerds and interdweebs, and welcome. My hand is off screen. Welcome to this, whatever the heck this turns out to be. It's going to be a mixture of booktubing and author tubing, because that's me. Yup. Probably talk about cosplays sometimes, who knows. Anyway, these are my vlogs, and they were centered around books and writing and all that kind of thing. So, welcome. These are going to be very poorly edited. And here we go. So, to start off, I started the month of September and started reading, as one does. And it turned into a theme on accident, because that happens. And my theme turned into LGBT reads, and I'm kind of okay with that. And so, here is a look at what I read this month. That was really heavy. So like I said, everything I read, LGBT. And that started unplanned, it became a plan. I really enjoyed it. And I will get more into some other deeper thoughts on that after I do mini reviews of all the books I read. So the first book that I read was Red, White, and Blue by Casey McQuiston. Now this is her first book as far as I could tell. And it is about the fictional first son of the United States and the fictional Prince of England and their little romantical ship. So, to get into the sexualities, the prince is gay and the first son is bi, which he discovers. But it's very much a trope in the sense of romance type teen novels because it is a hate to love and, you know, ritzy ritz and all that kind of stuff. So if you love all of the tropes of a teen novel, in love, in summer, all that fun shit, plus some royalty, plus some first family, then here you go. Actually, I absolutely adored this. I almost wanted to just reread it again and again and again. This is probably one of my new favorite books. I absolutely adored it, and this is what kickstarted my month. I read this, and I died, and so I wanted to read more gay lit in the teen world. So that was what I wanted to do. Anyway, so this is really well written. The pacing of the love story is really well done. Casey McQuiston has some hilarious lines. Just like one-liners, things you can make t-shirts out of, all those types of things. Anyway, she's going to be in my area, not too far from now, so I'm going to get this signed, and I'm very excited. And so, yeah, I'll let you guys know. I'm thinking of making a button or a t-shirt that says history, huh? And if you've read the book, you understand the reference. If you don't, just read the book. It literally will take you, I don't know, you'll speed through it. It's going to be on my books that I reread for fun, to decompress, and to just remember that there is love out there in the world. It also made me really want to watch the Great British Baking Show that I haven't watched, which I'm probably the only person on the internet who hasn't. But yes, even holding this book, I just feel love coming from it. You feel that feeling where you're just like, Anyway, this kick-started. So then, after that, I picked up a book that came out in 2016, and I had requested for Christmas that year as a gift because I had never seen anything like it, and I had just gotten into a relationship with the woman who's now my fiance, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this exists, and proceeded to not read it for 3 years because that's what I do. And I'm talking about Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulters. I think that's how you say her name. I could be wrong. So, A Fire and Stars is a lesbian fantasy YA, and I died. It's a really, besides just having a really cute romance and a really just very sweet and uncomplicated in the sense that they fall in love and they fall in love, and that's how life is. You fall in love. No coming out that has to happen, no any of that all of the trials come from things completely unrelated to their sexuality. So that was really nice, and the magic and the world building was great. I haven't seen something like this before, and I've read a lot of fantasy, but I really enjoyed the world that Audrey Coulters created. And so that drew you in, and the politics. There's 3 different countries that are in the main sort of circle for this, and the politics, and that being the main reason why there's like challenge in their love story, was really cool to read. And so I burned through this and just as quickly ordered on Amazon to have it at my front door the next day was of Ice and Shadows, which is the sequel. There is, in fact, a prequel. It's called Ink Mistress, which I actually have over here. Awkward Screen Love. Ink Mistress. And so I haven't read it. As you can see, I just started it. And the reason I just started it and haven't been able to pick it up again is a spoiler. Because of two characters that are in it, and I know one's going to get their heart absolutely shattered, and I'm not mentally there right now. I can't read that. So I do have it. I do want to read it. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be cool to see how the magic system sort of has almost like a birth, which is, I know it doesn't make sense. How can magic system be birthed? But trust me. Anyway, so I'm going to read this. It has demigods in it, dragons, all kinds of things. It's probably going to sit on a DNF shelf for right now because I know it's going to have heartbreak because I read of Ice and Shadows. So I know some history, well actually not history, some future. I know about one of the characters that's in that one and how there's no way there's a happy ending for them. So anyway, however, in this there was, ooh, I just moved the camera. Sorry. There is a happy ending, sort of. Yeah, mostly happy. They end up to, nah, I'm not going to spoil it. Anyway, I'm going to cut that whole thing out. So, because I read this, I do know about that one character, and I know there's no way there was a happy ending. There's no way. If there is, I will be severely surprised. Anyway, Of Ice and Shadows continues the story, and you follow the two main characters, which I don't think I said the names before, Denna and Mare. And you follow them, and you continue to learn more about one of the countries that's involved, and about magic and non-magic users, and definition of strength. And they do have what I would consider second book syndrome, the couples fight, but they do end up together again. There's never a, like, breakup, which I like. It's kind of nice not to have a breakup, but there is, like, a fight they kind of have. The only thing I didn't like about Of Ice and Shadows, the ending happened really fast. Like, really fast. I felt like I was probably this far in, so a good 350 pages in, and a lot still needed to be wrapped up, and I didn't know how they were going to wrap it up. I was like, is there going to be a third one? Like, is this going to end on a huge cliffhanger? I don't know. It didn't. It wrapped up, but I feel like it took, so I was on page 350 when that was going on-ish, and I think there's probably around 430-ish, a little more than that, pages in the book. So there was probably 100 pages left, and in 100 pages, she covered what probably could have been covered in a whole another book, and another novel. And I would have happily read it, because I felt like there was things that happened very quickly, resolutions that happened within a blink of an eye, and it actually reminded me of the ending of Mockingjay and Hunger Games, where I just felt like things were like boom, 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 and done. So that's my only critique. Otherwise, I really did enjoy it. I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed the world. I will eventually pick this up. This is not a forever DNF. It is just a I can't handle the heartbreak that I'm sure is in here DNF. So then, the last book that I picked up, that I bought a few weeks ago, and that I knew had LGBT in it and that I wanted to read, was We Contain Multitudes by Sarah Henstra. So this was different. It wasn't happy-go-lucky. It wasn't fantasy. On the back, or in the, I can't remember if it's in the back or in the side, it says it's one of those books that you will like if you like Nina LaCour, David Leviathan, and Jan D. Nelson. Now, I've never read anything by any of those people, because they tend to be more philosophical than I really enjoy in my for fun reading. So I was a little apprehensive going into this, but I really enjoyed it, and I finished it in less than a day, and the two characters are very unique. At first you think it's going to be very cliche, the jock and the nerd, and they fall in love, and there's this whole, oh my god, I'm gay, which, I mean, there is a little bit of that. It is a jock, it is a nerd, there is an, oh my god, I'm gay, but it's not just that. And there's a lot that goes on. It's a really good contemporary read. It's a really good... If you're a senior in high school, you probably would feel some of the feels in this. It's just a good read all around, regardless of the boys getting together. I also like, and then something I love in books in general, it is written as letters back and forth. Now, there were times where I was like, okay, why would they be telling this in a letter? You wouldn't write this in a letter unless you had no other way to forward the story. And so sometimes I think authors think they get stuck in that. And so it's like, oh, this is a letter story. I have to keep writing letters. Well, it could be a letter to another person telling about that event. But when you're recounting in a scene-by-scene detail of something that just happened to the person that it just happened with you with in a letter, it's just odd. I mean, she makes it work. And it's only something that bothered me a couple times. But that is sort of a thing in this where it's like no one writes that in a letter. At least not to someone who is there. Maybe if there was diary entries or letters to other people, which there is mention of happening. So, anyway. That's my only critique. Otherwise, I really, really enjoyed it. It made you feel the feels. Yeah, it's a very feels-heavy book. Ironically, this is not a feels-heavy book, and I cried at this one, and I didn't cry for this one. Who knows? Alright, so those are my tiny little reviews, and now I'm going to jump into the more, like, author-y thing. So, I'm a writer, unpublished as of yet. I've written the words "the end" on one novel, which I'm still reworking, like, hella hard. And my current goals are before NaNoWriMo, which I've got it like a month. I want to finish the first draft of another book I'm writing, which has an LGBT element, and then I'm going to be doing daily vlogs, which will be long, short, and completely unedited for NaNoWriMo. Now, I'm not really big into editing. I find it very boring, and so most of my videos are going to have kind of a raw thing, and that's just going to be the essence of my videos. There'll be some chopped up scene cuts here and there, but mostly I'm not going to edit a lot. Not my thing. And so, I have my dog below me. He's just like, Mom, why aren't you cuddling me? So, what I wanted to talk about from a writing standpoint with all of these books was that, yes, hi, baby. Everyone want to meet him? Oh, the baby. Probably going to cut that out. So, what I wanted to talk about was the fact of being an LGBT person, I'm lesbian, and wanting to write LGBT stories. And I felt like I had no idea how to write them. I don't know how to write two girls falling in love. And it was kind of an internal struggle because I was like, I am a lesbian. I've had lesbian romances. I'm in the middle of one. I'm getting married next summer. But I couldn't write it. I didn't know how to write it. And I would tell that these characters had these sexualities, and I'm a firm believer, like, your characters tell you what they are, you don't figure it out. I can't force a straight character to be gay, I can't force a gay character to be straight. It's just who they are in my brain. So, as I would try to write these characters as stories, I would learn, I didn't know how to write the romance. I was like, why don't I know this? Like, this is my life, but I can't figure this out to save my life. And then I started reading this. And then this. And I figured it out. I had never read it before. At least, not the way I wanted to. There wasn't porn or fan fiction. And poorly written fan fiction. But I didn't know it. I didn't know it. And I remembered what my author mentor had told me 100 times, Norman Partridge, who's a horror writer. It's not writing what you know, as in I can only ever write about little white girls that grew up in Arizona and moved to California. It's writing what you've read. Because I've read fantasy my whole life. I've read romances. I've read, I have bookshelves. There's 3 other bookshelves in this apartment. So, why couldn't I write this? Because it wasn't there. I didn't grow up where the woman who defeated the monster or the bad guy ended up with the girl. She ended up with a boy, or she didn't end up with anyone, which I was also fine with. But I didn't grow up reading homosexual romance in anything that I was reading. And because I hadn't read it, because that's how a writer learns their craft. They read, they learn about tropes, they learn about twists and turns, and just the best teacher for a writer is books. And there weren't any. And that's why I couldn't write it. And suddenly I started reading these books this month, and I found the words to start writing for my own characters. And that was insane. Like, I can't put across how important that was. And what a revelation that was. I knew how to write straight romance. I'm not straight. But I know how. I can do it. And I can do it well. I'm just now learning how to write two girls falling in love. Isn't that fascinating? Anyway, that's my whole lofty take. You'll see me do this hand motion a lot on all of that. I will do a vlog soon about what I'm writing, and it will be very choppy. I hope this was okay for a first peek into my reading videos. I'm thinking I'll do a reading video once a month, writing interspersed. And yeah, welcome to my vlogs. Goodbye, book nerds and inner dweebs.